In The Punisher One Last Kill, Jon Bernthal gives us a Frank Castle who breaks, right at the beginning. Not in the way action heroes typically break, not a clenched jaw and a single photogenic tear before the resolve kicks back in. No, this is something raw, less managed and more honest, and it earns all of the brutal violence that follows. The Punisher One Last Kill uses its 50 minutes of unrestrained violence to give us something serious. This is by far one of Marvel's most violent projects to date, and it earns that distinction not just through shock value, but through emotional coherence. The violence here is not fun, and it's not meant to be. It is the external expression of an internal state. A man so consumed by trauma and loss that destruction has become the only language left to him. The special opens with the Punisher in a state of barely contained deterioration. His apartment is a conspiracy theorist's fever dream. Walls covered in newspaper clippings, the detritus of a mind that has never fully returned from the wars it has fought. And outside, New York City is in corresponding chaos. Gang violence, burning police cars, an urban environment that mirrors the disorder within its most damaged inhabitants. And when Castle begins seeing hallucinations of his murdered family and his Marine comrades, the line between his internal world and the external one has effectively dissolved. The chaos of the city is the chaos of his mind, made physical. And Bernthal communicates this with a physical specificity that reminds you why this actor has always been the definitive live action version of this character. And once the siege begins, it does not stop. Ma Nucci, a wheelchair bound crime matriarch played with fragile ferocity by Judith Light, sends the city's criminal element descending on the Punisher's apartment building in waves. And what follows is a John Wick-style single location escalation, up and around the building, into the mob streets below, each encounter more extreme than the last. The Punisher survives a gasoline immolation, a rooftop plummet, a quantity of gunshots and stab wounds that would be comedic if the film's tonal commitment weren't so absolute. There are no quippy one-liners here, no ironic needle drop to signal that we're not supposed to take this seriously. Every moment is played straight, and the effect is cumulative. And here's the thing about Frank Castle that this special understands better than almost anything else in his history on screen. He is not a hero who uses violence as a last resort. He is a man for whom violence has become the primary means of processing a grief that has never found any other outlet. The action sequences, as spectacular as they are never purely kinetic, they are also always emotional. Expressions of a trauma that has no other language. When the Punisher finally unleashes, it feels less like triumph than release, the relief of a pressure valve opening. Temporary, necessary, and ultimately insufficient. And what keeps all of this from tipping into pure nihilism is the same quality that has always distinguished Bernthal's portrayal of this character. Frank Castle still cares about the innocents, that the impulse behind all of this violence is not just bloodlust, it is a devastated love for the family he could not save, redirected outward into a mission that can never fully satisfy its own demands. The Punisher One Last Kill arrives as the direct continuation of the Punisher's excellent two-season Netflix series and his later role in Daredevil Born Again, building on Castle's appearance in that series to give him the standalone showcase that his character has always justified. It also serves as a bridge to this summer's Spider-Man Brand New Day, where the presence of Marvel's most uncompromising anti-hero will be genuinely interesting to watch the creative team navigate. Jon Bernthal has been playing the Punisher for a decade now, and he has never been better than he is here. The gravesite scene alone would justify this special's existence. 3 minutes of acting that contain more genuine emotional honesty than some superheroes have managed across an entire season. Everything else about this special is built on that foundation, and the foundation holds. One Last Kill is not a happy story. It does not end with resolution, or redemption, or the suggestion that the Punisher has found a way through to the other side of his grief. It ends where it has to end, with a man still at war, still carrying everything he has lost, and still unable to put down the weapons that are simultaneously his purpose and his prison. The Punisher One Last Kill is streaming now on Disney+, so let me know in the comments. Do you think Jon Bernthal's Punisher is the most underrated performance in the entire MCU? Because after this special, I think the answer might be yes. And don't forget to subscribe to Fandom Frontline for more deep dives into the stories that shaped our fandom.